Here they are, and both players will actually be on Kashtira. Not a surprise for Diego, as we mentioned. He has been on a roll with the deck, performing really well, and he's gonna be up against a mirror match, which is definitely an interesting matchup. And although it's a mirror match, the deck lists are completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what we said previously, Diego has played a lot of events throughout the past weeks. And I think his list basically is what we have seen so far during the last tournaments as well, playing multiple books in his main deck alongside enemy controller, for example, while his opponent decided to play for a different line.
Absolutely, and his opponent in, first of all, surprising for the amount of entrops he's playing, considering also a card like Gamma in the main deck, which is really strong against a card like Droll and Lockbird, which is very popular nowadays. And we will see here if Diego, on the other hand, has decided to focus on power spells, we can say. And to be fair, I think it's actually great that he lost the die roll, because in the mirror match, especially with a list like this, you want to go second. But we might have a Gamma, I think, from... Wow! And this is a brutal opening from Davide. This Gamma in the main deck, which is great, because he's also using the Psyframe Lord Omega.
Yeah.
Wow.
These are so much. Also, I think if you're Diego, you don't really expect your opponent playing Gamma, no?
Right? I absolutely don't think so. And let's see these reveals. What is great about this, wow, and it does find the unicorn, is that Gamma is obviously huge. Yeah. You get a +1 out of it. But also the greatest thing is that Omega gets out of the field, which then allows you to special summon your Kashtira monsters.
And I think also this is what really gives another addition to the deck. We have said that a lot of our players are basically relying on a different strategy.
Yeah.
And I think this Gamma is paying off. Like last week, for example, we saw that YCS Philadelphia Nibiru was incredibly popular.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here, with this Omega, now Diego is about to lose another card, basically.
Absolutely. Great opening. And the planet is a really good hit here. At the same time, something interesting that we haven't seen a lot in Davide's list is the addition of Kashtira Ogre and Preparations, which basically give you an easier lock 5 that was really popular, I would say, in the previous format. But now, as you mentioned, with the popularity of Nibiru, usually players have cut those options.
But especially because, like, you really want to be careful. I mean, there are some situations in which you cannot really avoid doing the 5th summon, so you can really run into the Nibiru. I mean, on the other side, I think that this could be risky, especially because, like, in an 11 rounds tournament, I mean, it will pay off, but now already we can see that Diego is facing a lot of troubles with this, because Davide's hand looks incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, now we won't see any more interruptions from Diego. They're playing opposite deck list. Davide basically on 12 main entrops. His opponent only on Ash and Shifter, which means now there will not be any more interruptions from Diego, at least for this turn. So if actually Davide is managing to go for the lock 5, this could be over. But let's see.
I think also running into this event after saying what happened during the last events, how would you approach it? Like, in the sense that I think you may know that Kashtira is the most played deck, right? So
absolutely, and definitely an interesting choice here, banishing the Preparations with Rise Art. Interesting.
Maybe he drew into the big... No, he didn't, right? No.
No, he just wants to get it back now with the Ogre, banishing the Theosis. And actually also kind of surprising that he went for the monster zones. Sometimes you do see the Spell and Trap being locked, but maybe he wants to go for a middle ground of a lock 3, and that's what we're gonna see here. And yeah, gonna take a look at his opponent extra deck.
And I think also we're witnessing Diego not playing any copy of Infinite Impermanence as well. I mean, he just decided to go for 6 Entraps. And
actually, neither of them are on impermanence.
Yeah.
And here we can see some of these one-offs. Something interesting from both of these players is that they are actually using Elder Entity and Tis in the extra deck, which is really not that popular. Sometimes we saw one of the fossil cards in there as a target, obviously, from Prosperity, but interesting. And now Diego is going to lose 4 more cards from the top of his deck. Definitely a tough start here for the reigning champion to fight back in game 1.
Okay, now he goes with the Rizard. And I think Davide, yeah, it's done with that.
Yeah, interesting start, I gotta say. Not maybe the most convincing one, but he just wants to disrupt some cards from his opponent. And here is where we could see some of these power spells from Diego really pay off. We do not start with Book, which is kind of surprising since he's playing that many copies. But here we could see a talent or an enemy, no enemy even. And we are gonna banish a lot of cards from the deck. Wow.
This is gonna hurt so much because Diego lost a lot of cards at the moment.
Yeah. And here you can see another synergy of the deck with the Omega. You can get back some of these cards, which makes you wonder whether he should have prioritized the first, his own banish from Prosperity, as we can see now. And let's see. Okay, normal summon, it seems, from Diego. And we know that the face down is the preparations, which can be used to get back a Ferrier, for example. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it will make sense, honestly, to just,
Obviously, you need to consider talent and some of these cards, but it doesn't go for it. And wow, there is even an Ash. And I think Diego has seen enough. And so surprisingly, actually, game 1 goes to Davide. Great start, honestly. What we could say, Gamma, whenever you resolve that going second, it's really good. But when you resolve it going first, that's a lot of the time a steal. And it's not a surprise that in the upcoming Forbidden Unlimited list, the card is going to 1. So here is a demonstration of why and how Gamma can be so impactful. But now I think things are getting interesting, because what we mentioned is that Diego, as a main deck, really focused on the mirror match. And I would be surprised if he chooses to go first. I think after siding, he wants to go second in this matchup. And what do you think he might change in his deck?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you, especially because, like, taking a look at his side deck, he has the Gamma. So I think that he will take the advantage of going second, especially because he's playing enemy controller and triple attractive talents as well. And he has a lot of going second cards, for example, like Lightning Storms, Drone Lock as well.
Yeah.
And I think it also is worth mentioning that, as you said, in the I'm pretty sure that in the last 2 or 3 regionals, he didn't lose a single match. Like, he won them all. So I think he must be super confident with the deck. But of course, like, you are the reigning national champion. You are on future match at the first round.
You do have pressure.
You do have it. So,
but yeah, as mentioned, he probably is gonna take out those shifters, maybe even the Ash in place of Drone and Lock, which is more impactful, and the Storm. At the same time, he might be worried, you know, from some bias to activate the Droll against this Gamma. On the other hand, Davide, we gotta see whether he will be able to side for going first. Because he has some very interesting cards. His side deck is quite unique. And we'll see whether he actually reads into his opponent and bring in some of these trap cards like Eradicator Epidemic Virus. But I think without further ado, our duelists are pretty much ready. So let's jump into game 2. Here they are, and actually we do see 2 copies of Book of Eclipse from Davide. And we see a gamma. Interesting.
Yeah.
But this was actually well played, we could say, in a way, from Davide. He tried to play around the draw and lock by not activating his terraforming as the first card.
Yeah.
And now we'll see whether there is also a draw and lock from Diego. He's thinking about Ash, but I think whether he has it, obviously he's gonna be afraid of, again, a gamma from his opponent.
Yeah, I think he played it well by not activating the terraforming immediately.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, but there's the Ash.
Okay, interesting, but he will be reassured that there is no gamma this time. And here you could see the difference between a really good player and, you know, Diego, a reigning champion. Great start, but it's not easy to go through some Book of Eclipse, and I think here we are gonna see immediately being flipped on the unicorn from Diego. Does he have something else? He has the planet, which is not enough alone.
Yeah.
What would be really nice is a birth, but obviously the second book is there.
Yeah, looks like Diego is considering his options. Let's see whether he has anything else, and he has the birth. So we might be seeing soon the other Book of Eclipse being activated by Davide, and here it is. So both Defender and the Unicorn are being set from Diego's side, and looks like he's going to the end phase, and he will draw 2 cards from the Book of Eclipse. Ooh, okay. Davide drew into the birth. And,
Yeah, and here, obviously, Diego is going to activate his own copy, banishing face down those cards, so he cannot get it back.
And Davide picks up his cards, and another very quick game, and nothing much to say,
Honestly, a quick one. It's 1-1, and we are going immediately to game number 3. So now that we go back to siding, I think, as mentioned, not a surprise, Diego has a really good deck for going second. My interesting question, I would say, is looking at the side decks. Davide has everything for going first. Do you think he's gonna actually change his deck? Because it seemed as if he sided for going second.
yeah.
I think he might just side his trap cards, and outside of Eradicator, there is another interesting card, which is Summon Limit.
Yeah.
Which is really good against Unicorn, but really bad against Fenrir at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting card to play. But yeah, I really don't think Davide is gonna choose to go second.
I can't do anything else, honestly. Especially because, like, we have seen that in Kashtira mirror match, sometimes players tend to go second. So basically, they want their opponent to start first. And I mean, in my opinion, Davide doesn't really have an option here. Looking at his side deck, he really wants to go first.
I think absolutely he's gonna go first. At the same time, though, there are some mind games involved because there is no way that Diego knows about this.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned that he's really experienced, he's gonna expect to go first, and he might be caught off guard a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think with no matter that, the only thing that could come to cost him is these copies of Dimensional Barrier in the side deck, which are not the best in the mirror match, and especially going second, they would be awful.
Yeah.
So hopefully Diego is not gonna draw into this, but our duelists are ready. Let's find out who will be the winner of this match. And what a fast way to start things off here. Not even 50 minutes down the round, and we are already in game number 3, which is definitely interesting here. We were used to long grind games, but sometimes that's how Yu-Gi-Oh goes. And in the meantime that we wait for these players to prepare for game 3, we can go back to us to just quickly talk about the side. Hi everyone and welcome back to the coverage of the WCQ Italian National 2023. We are here with Diego, the winner of round 1. So first of all, congratulations. Obviously an interesting way to start things off in round 1, but still a really good show on your side. And first of all, how do you feel?
I'm very confident for this event.
Nice.
I play Kashtira for to mount.
Yeah.
And I'm sure of my ability.
Yeah, we were saying that you won a lot of regionals, win after win after win. So you are definitely in a really good spot in making it this weekend. And we also mentioned Kashtira is the deck to beat. It's the best deck arguably at the moment. But your build is also quite interesting. If you had to mention one card that is your favorite in your deck, what would it be?
Dimension Shifter.
I mean, we remember it very well last year because you drew it so much in top 4 and in the finals, which won you the event with Wanderers, of course. And it's great that it's now again in your deck with Kashtira. But obviously not the greatest in the mirror match, but you have a lot of different matchups where it can be really, really good. And obviously the question and the highlight of the weekend is, last year, it was the largest ever Italian national. This year, the record is broken. We have more than 1,600 players, which is insane. Can you do it back to back? What's your goal?
Yeah, I think that back to back is possible. And I'm very confident in a mirror match with 6 book and 2 econ, feather duster. I'm very confident.
I agree, and we can say that there are a few interesting patterns that, again, it's not only the shifters. There are a lot of other cards which are, again, in your deck, such as the Feather Duster. So we'll see whether that will pay off. But thank you guys for being with us, and congratulations again to Diego. I'm hoping we will see you more later on in the event. Thank you for being with us. This was round 1, but don't go anywhere. We have a lot more action, 8 more rounds remaining for the day. So keep watching, and we will be back with round number 2.